Hello everybody, Prowl here, and today I want to talk about some of these really big mistakes that I think Mojang is making when it comes to villager nerfs. And they're making some pretty huge nerfs to villagers. And actually, believe it or not, I kind of agree with these nerfs, but not on their own. And I'm going to explain that during this video. I do think that as is, this is going to cause players to leave the game. I'm already actually seeing evidence of that, just like anecdotally from people within my community that are very unhappy about this change, and people have been playing less because of it, just because of the fact that this thing is possibly going to happen soon. This is a big issue because the alternatives to like getting your books and stuff like that from villagers, the alternatives kind of suck. And I can fix the problem for you guys, Mojang. We can fix this. We can actually make this a really good thing, but it's going to take a little bit of work and some more things need to be done. In the meantime, for those of you watching the video, if you'll please click that like button to help this video get seen by more people and show your support for this particular topic. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already for great Minecraft videos and opinionated videos and informative videos like this. And drop me a comment down below and let me know what you think about these villager nerfs right now. And then comment again at the end of the video and let me know what you think after we've discussed things a little bit, and let me know what you think about my thoughts and the nerfs once these other things are kind of talked about and flushed out. All right, so first of all, what did Mojang nerf? So villager discounts, they're not anywhere near as good as they used to be. That's actually already hit Bedrock Edition as of the recording of this video, and it's going to be hitting Java Edition soon. You used to be able to zombify and then cure villagers multiple times to take their trades up from a maximum of even 64 emeralds per trade all the way down to a single emerald. You might have to like do the process like 3, 5, 6 times, something like that, but you could bring them all the way down to 0. And there was another method too, where when you change that one villager from a zombie to a villager, then it would give all of the villagers around it a temporary discount for a short period of time. That's been nerfed too. So that's number one. Number two is they're changing it to where you have to do a lot of traveling. 7 different biomes, 5 of which already have villages that already generate in them, and 2 of which have like actual villager outfits, but villages do not generate in these areas. So they're going to make you travel to all of these to be able to get all of your different trades for books from librarians and different trades from armorers for diamond armor. And there is a change to the cartographer as well, where at the very least you do get 7 different types of maps from a cartographer that will take you to these different biomes to at least help you find them and make this process a little bit easier. Armorers were nerfed as well. Ingots now trade for less, although you can trade iron blocks for more. So it kind of offsets and is a net positive, I think. Armor trades are going to cost more. It's going to not only cost emeralds, but it's going to cost diamonds as well to trade to an armorer to get diamond armor. And some of their trades are biome specific too. And then there's some additional like relevant changes too. Enchanted books will now show up a little bit more often in ancient cities, mine shafts, outposts, desert temples, and jungle temples. It's not really enough to make a difference, but it's a change in the right direction, and I think those things are relevant to the conversation today. So first of all, my opinion on this whole like topic. Honestly, villager trading was very overpowered, like extremely overpowered. In a way, I don't mind that they like want to make these changes, and I get why they want to like incentivize exploring the world, because that's supposed to be what Minecraft is partially about, right? Is exploring the world. You have this infinite size world with all these things to see that they've put into the game. They want you to have reason to go around and explore. But the problem with this is not everybody likes to or wants to explore, especially when you're talking about thousands or even tens of thousands of blocks. You could have a taiga village and biome be 10,000 blocks away from a desert. Like, these things can be really far apart, and it can be a lot harder for some players to do the traveling. I'm thinking of like console players, especially Nintendo Switch, especially mobile players that don't go to the end to get Elytra. It could be a pain in the butt And some people, even if it's not a pain, like some people just don't want to travel everywhere. Okay. So there are other methods for people to enchant. We shouldn't pretend like there's only one. There's the enchanting table. That's convenient. Like it could be done at your base. It's not that hard to make an enchanting table. You get together a few supplies from the bookshelves, find some lapis, and you're good to go, right? You can get almost any enchant from the enchanting table, with the exception of a couple of higher end enchants, which you can combine together to get to the max level, and like mending. You can't get mending there. Maybe there's like one or two other ones I'm missing, like soul speed and stuff like that. But you guys get the point. Almost everything is available there. But the bad part is the enchanting table is clunky. It kind of sucks. Like when you pop an item and some lapis into there, first of all, just that process of going into the menu and dropping items in is slightly annoying. But even more so, you might look through your 3 different enchantments and they're not very good. So well, first of all, it's not obvious to people that you can re-roll the enchanting table by simply putting a cheap enchantment on a piece of gear and then new enchantments will pop up. But second of all, if you do know that, it kind of sucks to do, to like go through the process of having, I don't know, a bunch of books or something like that to put 5, 10, 15 different enchantments on these different things to finally find the one enchantment that you want on the table. And then on all the things that you've enchanted previously, first of all, you've wasted 10, 15 levels. You've wasted 10 to 15 lapis. You've wasted a lot of time re-rolling manually in and out of the menu. And then all those things that you didn't enchant, you're probably going to want to disenchant them, which is going to require you to get a grindstone. It's a grind, no pun intended with the grindstone. It's a grind to do that. It is not convenient at all. It's actually quite a terrible experience for players, and it costs you a ton of levels. And levels, for most people, you kind of have this like thing where it goes from being really, really hard to get levels because XP in Minecraft sucks until it doesn't. At some point, a lot of us technical players at the very least will make a big mob farm, gold farm, like whatever, right? Enderman farm for you Java players I know is very popular. And then all of a sudden XP goes from really hard to get to too easy to get. But not all players get to that point. In fact, most players don't get to that point. Most players, while playing a game, stay in that XP is hard to get category. So that's another issue with the enchanting table. We'll talk about that a little bit later too. Looting chests is another way, right? You can go to a bastion, you can go to, especially the end cities have a lot of gear, but even in other chests around the world too, dungeons, shipwrecks, et cetera, right? There's different chests that do have and different chests that don't have decent loot in them. It's kind of like easy to one extent, right? Because you can find this in more like low distance exploring. Instead of talking about 10,000 blocks to find 7 different biomes, like you can search 1,000 blocks or 2,000 blocks around your base and you can find all sorts of different things. Or you can very easily target, like I'm going to go to a bastion or I'm going to fly to some end cities, and you can get a whole lot of loot. So there are ways to get loot, but the problem with that is that a lot of this loot for most of these places is not good, except for end cities. Like end cities are solid. Everywhere else you go, the loot kind of sucks. Like it's not that great, and it's pretty rare as well. So looting chests around the world is not a great solution. You have fishing. Fishing is good, right? You can fish up books, except for the fact that books aren't really very common. So to get like any quantity of them, you'd have to set up an AFK fishing farm. I think those are possible again now. I don't know. I've never really cared for AFK fishing, but it's a different pastime that people like to do, and it is a way that you can get enchanted books. And the last thing is a raid farm. Not everybody likes to go that route. Not everybody wants to get technical and build farms, but it is a good way to get a lot of books once it's set up and functional. So how do we fix these different things? Because here's where I think this all comes together. I agree with nerfing villager trading because you can spend a little bit of time, like a couple hours, right? Or a few hours to get a good villager trading hall set up, have all of the trades that you want, discount everybody. And then the next thing you know, you basically have easier than creative mode access to every enchantment in the game. I'm sorry, but that end result is overpowered. Yes, it does take a little bit of work to get there, but that end result is overpowered. It just is, because once you do it once and you roll, like you're done, you're set, you're basically in creative mode when it comes to getting good gear. But here's where this is a bad decision for them to do. The other methods that I mentioned earlier to get enchantments are all extremely underpowered to the point that they suck. They're just not good, but they can be fixed. And I think if you fix these in this way, then suddenly this villager change does not matter as much. And I'm going to talk about why and how we're catering to different types of players, and we're having Mojang allow us to play the way that we want to play the game rather than forcing us to play the game the way they want us to play the game. So, enchanting table. I mentioned earlier how much it sucks to reroll enchants. There should just be a button on the enchanting table that will re-roll the list of enchantments that you have to choose from. You click the button, maybe it deducts a level, deducts a lapis, or deducts a bunch of lapis, but not a level, like whatever, right? I don't like the idea of it taking levels, so maybe it just deducts more lapis. We can figure that out if we go that route by talking to the community. But you click the button, it re-rolls the enchants on the table, and you can keep doing that until you find an enchant on there that you want. If you're familiar with that enchanting table, that tier 3 enchantment has a random chance to also apply a bunch of other enchantments. That's actually kind of cool. I like that. You target the one enchant you want, you click the button, and then you go hover over top of your piece of gear, and you're surprised. You're like, oh man, I thought I was only getting efficiency 4, but I'm actually getting efficiency 4, unbreaking 3, and fortune 3. Like, that feels good. That's great. What isn't great is the re-rolling you have to do 1,000 times to get to that point. So let's fix that. Number 2, levels suck. In my opinion, leveling just needs to be easier. And I think the way to do that is going to be by making mobs that are killed give more XP, making breeding and killing animals, passive mobs, give more XP, make the furnace when you smelt things give more XP, and maybe even start putting some like XP splash potions in chests too, so people can get those and give themselves XP that way as well. Number 2 is the curve. The XP curve needs to be lowered. Right now, the higher level you go, exponentially the amount of XP that's needed increases, and it just gets harder and harder and harder to get levels. Once you get over 30, especially, really once you get over like 25, but really once you get over 30, it starts to really ramp up and get really hard to get XP. Can we just make it like a flat line, like severely like nerf that curve? Because here's the thing, right? I know some of you guys that are listening to this are going to think, oh, but man, XP is so easy to get anyway. But the problem with that line of thinking is it's easy to get once you make an XP farm. A lot of you guys make Enderman farms. A lot of us on Bedrock will make gold farms. All of us use mob farms to some extent, right? When you make these things, you're already getting to and sitting at level 200, level 300 anyways, because you make the farm is overpowered at getting XP. You use the XP once to make all of your gear, then you sit on hundreds of levels until you die. So what's the difference if you sit on level 200 versus sitting on level 300 because XP got easier? Like, it's no difference. You're sitting on extra levels that are useless anyways. So if you at least make XP easier to get, it makes the early game easier to do different things, especially for the majority of players. And that's what Mojang should target. The majority of players, they shouldn't cater like all of these game mechanics to us top 1% that are able to exploit the different systems in the game to get like maximum amount of whatever we're looking for, XP or whatever it is. They need to balance it for that majority player that has a hard time getting XP. So to me, that fixes the enchanting table. Easier to re-roll, lower the cost, increase the ability to get XP and get levels. Bam. Enchanting table, instantly a viable option for people. Chests in the game. That's another one we talked about. Let's just like create a couple different tiers, right? You should be able to find more enchanted gear, or maybe not enchanted gear, but enchanted books in like villages, for example. Let's say you have like lower tier enchanted books there where you find like, I don't know, like Unbreaking 1 and Fortune 1 and Efficiency 2 and stuff like that in villages, because there's a low risk factor. There's a decent amount of villages out there. Maybe you have like a second tier for like the like slightly less dangerous but more adventurous things that you can do, like shipwrecks and desert temples and jungle temples and stuff like that. Like maybe they have a little bit better chance to get top level enchanted books in them, and or have like a more mid tier when it comes to getting enchanted books. Then you have your highest tier, your dangerous zones, your bastions, your nether fortresses, your mansions, even your pillager outposts to some extent, dungeons. Like these areas, ancient cities, I keep coming up with them as I try to talk. These areas require a lot more skill to go through. You're going to have to do some combat if you're not on peaceful mode. So those should be the highest tier. You have a pretty decent chance of finding the books that you're looking for. And after raiding maybe a few of these areas, you should be able to pull together enough enchanted books to be able to fully outfit your character. I think that would make sense. Fishing, I don't think should be a viable option for getting every enchantment in the game because it's just not well suited for that. But what I think it should be a good option for is to get like the decent enchantment. There should be certain enchantments that every player wants that are common to get in fishing. Maybe like unbreaking, efficiency, silk touch, fortune, protection, mending, like a few of them like that, like maybe like your 7 to 10 most popular enchantments that people would like to get, but you get them in like lower levels, right? Like you get efficiency 2 from it. But hey, like if you sit there fishing for a while, like you'll probably get a few efficiency 2 or efficiency 3 books, and you can combine them together if you want to. It should be a better alternative. Of course, like it shouldn't just be like that off the bat. Like if you don't have an enchanted fishing rod, your chances to get those should probably be pretty low. But if you get yourself a Luck of the Sea 3 fishing rod, then we can just catch less fish, like make fish less common to get and make books more common to get at that point because you have the enchanted rod. You know what I mean? Make it a little bit better for people, make it feel more rewarding to go fishing for that player that likes to just sit around in their base and kind of relax and fish. Another one is raid farms. I don't have much to say here except for the fact that the problem with raid farms is you get 10 billion books and it sucks to go through them. So I know this will feel very un-Minecrafty to a lot of you guys, but I think there should be a search function built into like chests and your inventory screen. So if I open a chest, I should be able to type mending, and then it'll highlight any book in there that has mending. I can type in EFF for efficiency, and it'll highlight any book that has efficiency on it. I think that would, it's like a slightly advanced feature, but I think fits within vanilla Minecraft. That would just make it to where like, yeah, you're going to just get all these random books that you don't want or don't need. And that's fine. I think that's okay. But just allow us to like just find the one that we want easier rather than having to hover over top of each one, because that's just useless. That's a useless feature or function of the game that can and should be improved. And then lastly, I want to talk about disenchanting. I think this is another place where we can make a big improvement. So a lot of times you can find gear, whether it be from your armorer or whether it be from like raiding in cities or dropping off of mobs or whatever, right? Sometimes you can get like diamond gear that has like pretty good enchants on it, but maybe there's other things on that gear that you don't like. Or maybe you get a piece of iron gear that has an enchantment, but you're not using iron anymore, you're using diamonds, right? So what if when you disenchant something, you have the option at some kind of cost, you guys can discuss down in the comments what you think that cost should be, but you disenchant an item and you can pull a specific like one enchant off of it to put onto a book. So I could pull off a diamond chest plate with fire protection 4 on it, and then I could pull off the fire protection. I can spend, you know, 5 lapis or a level or whatever we want to make it, and then I can put that fire protection on the book that then I can, you know, put on my pants or something like that if I need to. Maybe I find an iron pickaxe with efficiency 5 on it and I want to take that off of there. Well, maybe since it's iron, when I take it off, maybe it downgrades it to like efficiency 4 or something like that would be fine. But just having the ability to pull enchantments off of gear that you find at some kind of cost, I think would be a very good viable method to help people have a different way to get enchantments. And really all of this ties into just let people play the way they want to play. Okay. If you're going this route of making people explore 10,000 blocks and like going through a ton of headache to not only explore those blocks, travel that distance, but then set up villagers in each one of those areas, you're forcing people in order to get enchantments for their gear to do all of that and play that style of Minecraft. But not everybody wants to play Minecraft that way. Minecraft is a sandbox game that's supposed to be about player agency and player choice. Okay. So villager trading should be that like explorer, like technical player wants to get things in mass player choice. And there's plenty of players that want to do that. looting chests should be that adventurer's choice, person that likes to like go around like 1,000 or a couple thousand blocks and fight mobs and like find the sunken ships and get a buried treasure and like go to all these different areas, or just gets rewarded for naturally exploring around their base area where they've decided to set up camp. That person can play and get enchantments by looting. Fishing should be for that player that just likes to relax and chill around their base, and like they just like that chill, leisurely like style of gameplay. They don't mind sitting there at the fishing rod for 2 to 3 hours fishing up all the enchantments that they want to get for their gear. The enchanting tables for that player that likes to play close to home. They want everything right there in their base. They don't mind going out and getting the levels and the lapis needed to run the table, and then they can go through and just do their entire setup without really having to go that far from home. And then finally, your raid farm is for that technical player, likes building farms and doesn't mind getting that whole thing set up to get all the things they need. You have all of these different player types: the redstoner, the adventurer, the relaxed player that I want to set up everything and for it to all be in my base, and for the big explorer player. You have all of these different slices of player, but the only real viable option that you're giving is for people to explore 10,000 blocks away. And you're not fixing all of the other methods that nobody uses right now because they all suck. So finally, if Mojang doesn't make these changes, then I would say that this villager change is honestly pretty garbage. Like it's really bad. They're forcing players to play a way they don't want to play. They are making reuse of these villagers very difficult. They're forcing people to move villagers around, which sucks in the game as well. It is not easy to move villagers a short distance, much less 10,000 blocks away, if that's what you have to do to get two of them to a swamp to breed them or to bring them all back to your base because you want everything at your base. That's terrible. And you can't even get top level enchants from these villagers anyways. Like you can at best get what, Unbreaking 2 and Efficiency 3 or something like that. Like that's terrible. You're making me go 10,000 blocks and make villagers that won't even at max level give me the best enchantments anyways. That is awful. And ultimately, this is going to lead to players leaving the game. Like I said, I can only give anecdotal evidence. Like I'll be okay, but there's a lot of players that won't. I have a lot of people in my community telling me like I'm done. It makes the game not fun. I do not want to play this way. So I'm just gonna go play something else. And that is not what Mojang should be doing. They need to be pulling more players in, not pushing more players away. It slows the game down way too much. Even people that aren't inherently mad about this, or maybe even don't know about it, they're gonna go through playing the game. They're gonna find it's taking forever to get enchantments with this method, and they're just gonna lose interest. I don't think people realize like having efficiency 5 and mending and unbreaking makes building and gathering and doing all of these things so much more enjoyable because you can do them faster and get results quicker. And now that you're going to be slowing those results down, people are going to notice that. Maybe not up front, maybe not actively, but in the back of their minds, they're going to notice that this is happening. They're going to lose interest in the game and they're going to go play something else. So balance is needed. Yes, we did have something in villager trading before that was way overpowered, but everything else is so underpowered. You're just creating this big imbalance. And if you're going to make these changes, Mojang, I really hope you guys are listening because I'm trying to help you out here. I love this game. You need to make these other changes at the same time. If you do it all together, you're going to avoid any grief. You're going to make the player base happy. Everybody will be able to walk away from this with a great experience. If you don't, and you just push these nerfs through, unfortunately, Minecraft's going to suffer the consequences. Thanks for watching, everybody. I do appreciate you. If you agree with any of my commentary or have any like comments about it, first drop me a like down below. Subscribe to the channel. Catch me live. We talk about these topics live very often. Comment down below and let me know, what do you think about the things that I just talked about? What do you think about the changes that Mojang is making? And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.